Developing right now on Morning News Now, star witness this morning, Michael Cohen, due back on the stand in Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial. The former president's fixer turned foe, testifying that Trump directed him to arrange payments to adult film actress Stormy Daniels during Trump's 2016 campaign to cover up an alleged affair. We have team coverage. New this morning, a renewed show of support by the U.S. for Ukraine. The surprise visit by Secretary of State Antony Blinken as Russia launches a new offensive. And in the Middle East, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians displaced and bracing for an Israeli ground invasion in Rafah.
That's the 6th time I evacuate from anywhere I was in. So I feel so lost.
We will bring you the very latest. Plus, meme stocks roaring back after the surprise return of the investor behind the 2021 GameStop frenzy. But could the short squeeze be short-lived? What you need to know before you buy in. And fever pitch, basketball star Caitlin Clark making her WNBA season debut tonight in front of course, a sold-out crowd. We'll have all the excitement ahead of tip-off. It's not even a home game, sold out.
It's the hottest ticket in town, and I think it's going to be like that throughout the entire season. Good to have you with us this morning. I'm Joe Fryer.
Yeah, it's good to be back together. It's been a little bit. I'm Savannah Sellers. Thanks for starting your week with us. We're going to begin our show with the criminal hush money trial of former President Donald Trump, which resumes this morning. The cross-examination of Mr. Trump's former lawyer and fixer, Michael Cohen, is expected to begin today.
Cohen, the prosecution's star witness, took the stand yesterday for the first time in the trial. During his testimony, he placed Mr. Trump at the heart of a hush money scheme that prosecutors say was aimed at silencing an alleged sexual encounter with adult film star Stormy Daniels. Cohen claims this all happened during the final weeks leading up to the 2016 election. Now, Cohen told jurors how Mr. Trump instructed him to pay her off before approving a plan to pay him back. Cohen said Mr. Trump told him, quote, "Just take care of it." Mr. Trump denies the sexual encounter and the charges related to falsifying business records tied to the payments. NBC News correspondent Rahima Ellis is outside the courthouse for us this morning. We're also joined by our legal analyst, Kristen Gibbons-Fedden. Good morning to both of you. So, Rahima, another dramatic day of testimony. Cohen has been referred to as the human smoking gun in this case. So how did he place the former president at the center of all this? Walk us through some of the key moments from yesterday's session.
Being on the witness stand all day yesterday, Joe, there were a lot of key moments, but some of what you pointed out was that Michael Cohen testified that Donald Trump was furious about the fact that Stormy Daniels in October of 2016 was still thinking about the possibility of selling her story and that they were not going to be able to catch and capture it. One of the things that Cohen testified to, he said that this could be a catastrophe for the campaign coming on the heels of the Access Hollywood tape. He went on to say, as you point out, that Mr. Trump said to him, "Just take care of it. This is a disaster." And let me quote here. He said, according to Trump, "Women are going to hate me, but guys may think this is cool, but this is going to be a disaster for the campaign." You know that we should point out that Donald Trump has denied any association with any women in connection with these 34 charges against them. And for some who think that any of this might have had something to do with him trying to hide information from his wife, Melania, Cohen testified that Mr. Trump wasn't concerned about Melania's reaction, only his election chances. He said, in fact, he wasn't thinking about Melania. This was all about the campaign. He went on to testify about the fact that he was going to take out a home equity loan in order to pay the $130,000 to Stormy Daniels to keep her quiet about the alleged affair. And a question that he was asked, as I come to the end of this and I throw it back to you, he was asked on direct examination, Joe, what is the substance that you discussed with Mr. Trump about all of this? And Cohen said, "I wanted to ensure that, once again, he approved that what I was doing because I required approval from him on all of this." That's what the sum and substance of the conversation was, laying out exactly what was going to happen, what was being done in order to ensure that the story didn't get sold to the Daily Mail. And then the question, and I'm going to close with this, the question is, would you have made the payment to Stormy Daniels without getting a sign-off from Mr. Trump? His answer was no. The question was, why not? Cohen said, because everything required Mr. Trump's sign-off. On top of that, I wanted the money back. He's due back on the stand in just a short time from now. Joe and Savannah?
Kristen, let's bring you in here and talk about everything that Rahima just broke down for us. What stood out to you from Cohen's testimony? Will the prosecution be satisfied with how it went yesterday?
I think so. I think Cohen's testimony really appeared to be quite effective from the perspective of the prosecution. He was composed, he was credible, and as Rahima had pointed out, he really provided the testimony that was necessary to directly link Trump in this scheme. This testimony is pivotal because it truly aligns with the prosecution's narrative that the payments were intended to influence the election by suppressing damaging information about Trump. But in addition to the effective testimony that the prosecution was able to elicit, they also provided bolstering to his testimony through exhibit presentation. They were able to show the phone records, the text messages, all through, and even the phone recording, all through Cohen's testimony, in my opinion, creating a compelling case regarding Trump's involvement and intent, and also helping to support what's going to come next, which is a cross-examination to undermine his credibility, kind of bolstering his testimony to show that there is independent evidence to support his detailed testimony.
Kristen, let's talk about that cross-examination. What do you think the defense will focus on specifically?
I think they're going to focus on a couple things, but crucially, they're going to aim to undermine his credibility. They're going to highlight his previous conviction for lying, and they're going to portray that lie as like an indicative pattern of dishonesty. I think they're going to also depict him as a disgruntled former employee seeking revenge. And it suggests that he's exaggerating or even fabricating his testimony against Trump for some type of personal gain. They'll probably highlight the books and all of those things. But also, you know, I think they're going to point out any inconsistencies in the statements that he's given, either in his plea allocution or any of his subsequent testimony, with the direct testimony that he gave yesterday, and really question his motives. I think ultimately they're going to try to paint him as a rogue operator to really allow Trump to be distanced from him, to basically support the narrative that Trump acted, or Cohen acted, independently without Trump's knowledge or direction.
All right, a lot to cover this morning. Rahima and Kristen, thank you both.
Thank you. Well, today in 3 states, voters will head to the ballot box for their primary day.
We sometimes forget the primaries
Yeah.
are still happening. Today, it's Maryland, Nebraska, and West Virginia. Now, even though the presidential primaries were basically decided months ago, there are several closely contested races. One of them could have implications for control of the Senate, a race we're going to be watching throughout the day.
NBC News senior political editor Mark Murray joins us for more on what to look out for today. Mark, good morning. So let's start with the big one. This is a competitive race for an open Senate seat in Maryland. So we've got 2 Democrats here facing off for the nomination. They're Congressman David Trone taking on Prince George's County Executive. That's her title, Angela Alsobrooks. What should we know about that race?
This is the marquee race that we're going to be watching today, and maybe the marquee Senate Democratic primary of the 2024 calendar season. David Trone, as you mentioned, is the sitting congressman from Maryland. He's also incredibly wealthy and has actually run nearly $50 million in advertisements in this contest. Angela Alsobrooks is running to be Maryland's first elected Black senator. And so, you know, you're actually having this matchup between Alsobrooks's history-making bid as well versus David Trone's money. And the polling shows that this race is very tight and competitive, and we'll see who ends up coming ahead tonight.
And here's another reason that's such a marquee race. The winner is likely going to take on Republican Larry Hogan, who's the former Maryland governor who won 2 terms in a state that leans Democratic. So we know, big picture here, Democrats have this razor-thin hold on power in the Senate. How competitive is this one going to be in November?
Joe, it could potentially be competitive. And again, you know, one thing that sometimes a governor from the opposite party has a harder time in Senate contests that are decided more on federal issues than state and local ones. However, the polling shows that Larry Hogan would be an incredibly competitive Republican running the general election. And he has shaped the contours of the primary between Trone and Alsobrooks. Each has argued who would actually end up being the better candidate to face off against Hogan in the fall. And, you know, if Hogan is able to make a run, you're exactly right that could end up giving Republicans a pickup opportunity in this presidential cycle.
Mark, let's go to Nebraska now. Specifically, let's focus on the 2nd Congressional District. It's an interesting one. Donald Trump won it in 2016. Then President Biden won it in 2020. Well, today we are following the race for its seat in the House. So we've got incumbent Republican Don Bacon. How's that race looking? And is there anything we could take from tonight's outcome that could show us any larger trends heading into the general election in a district like that that's flip-flopped?
Bacon is kind of a moderate Republican who's bucked his party time to time, and but he has continued to end up outlasting Democrats who wanted to challenge him in this district. As you mentioned, that Democrats have had success at the federal level in presidential contest, and Bacon is getting a challenge from his right, and if he's able to win, he'd face off against Tony Vargas, the Democrat, and Vargas narrowly ended up losing to Bacon in 2020, the 2020 cycle, 2022 midterms, and do note that we're going to be watching this at the presidential level because that one congressional district is worth one electoral vote in the general election.
Yeah, reminder, Nebraska, a little different from most states out there when it comes to this. All right, real quick, Mark, after today, a few more primary elections. What else are you looking forward to down the line?
Joe, these are the final primaries that we're going to end up seeing statewide for the month of May. But come in June, we're going to have primaries in New Jersey, Nevada, and Montana. And so the races for 2024 don't stop as we get closer and closer to the November 2024 election.
All right, Mark Murray, as always, we appreciate you. Thanks.
Developing overnight, Secretary of State Antony Blinken is now in the middle of a surprise visit to Ukraine. Blinken arrived in Kyiv just a few hours ago and quickly met with President Zelenskyy behind closed doors.
Blinken is also meeting with top cabinet officials to get updates from the battlefield amid a new Russian offensive in northeastern Ukraine. The State Department says Blinken is in Ukraine to show support for the U.S. ally in its ongoing war with Russia. This comes just weeks after Congress passed a new military aid package for the country.
For the latest, let's bring in NBC News international correspondent Kelly Kobiea. Russia is stepping up its offensive in Ukraine, fighting intensifying in the northeastern part of the country. So, Kelly, let's start with Secretary Blinken's visit. He just finished his meeting with President Zelenskyy. What do we know about the focus of that meeting?
Yeah, so this trip is really about trying to reassure Ukraine that the U.S. is behind them and will continue to support them with military aid. He did acknowledge that this is a challenging time for Ukraine and also said that some of the new aid has already arrived and that more is on the way. Secretary Blinken said the weapons package will make a real difference on the battlefield. Now, included in that $60 billion aid package is badly needed artillery and air defenses. Zelenskyy, for his part, thanked the U.S. for the latest weapons package, but he also said what they need the most and urgently, really, are 2 air defense batteries to protect the northeastern city of Kyiv, which is being absolutely pummeled by Russian airstrikes right now. Joe, Savannah.
Kelly, I want to ask about the increased attacks by Russia in the northeastern part of Ukraine that we were just mentioning. So this is near Kharkiv. It's second largest city. Several thousand people have been evacuated. And it comes as more than 30,000 Russian troops are on the border and intensifying their assault. What do we know about this?
Well, just this morning, the head of Ukraine's military intelligence said the situation in the Kharkiv region was moving toward stabilization. But he also warned that Russia may send in more reserves in the coming days. Different message coming from Russia. The state news agency TASS claims that Russian forces have taken control of parts of one town on that border region called Vovchansk. They're also claiming to take other territory that's been uninhabited for quite some time. Now, President Zelenskyy said over the weekend that these fierce battles were taking place near the border. This has been expected by the Ukrainians. Ukrainian soldiers, he said, are outnumbered and outgunned. And analysts seem to think that this new push is a sign that Russia is trying to exploit the delay in aid arriving from the U.S., also from Europe. And some analysts even saying that this is the most dangerous period for Ukraine in 2 years since this invasion began.
Kelly, let's talk more about the shipments of supplies from the U.S. that were, of course, held up fighting in Congress for months, then finally passed. President Biden signed that bill 3 weeks ago. Do we know, is that aid starting to arrive yet? What kind of difference could it make?
Yeah, so what they really need, as President Zelenskyy said, is air defenses as well as artillery. A senior U.S. official traveling with Secretary Blinken, he was on the plane with the on the train with the secretary as he traveled in overnight to Ukraine, said that air defense interceptors, artillery, and long-range ballistic missiles have already been delivered, and that some are already on the front lines. That official also said that Ukraine faces a tough fight. He acknowledged they're under tremendous pressure, but said that Ukrainians would become increasingly more confident as the U.S. and European aid begins to surge in. But no question right now they are in a very difficult position. Joe, Savannah.
All right, Kelly Kobiea, thank you so much.
Let's turn now to the war in Gaza, where thousands are searching for shelter as Israel continues to escalate attacks in the region ahead of its ground operation in Rafah.
At least 14 people were killed last night after Israeli fighter jets bombed a residential building in the Nuseirat refugee camp located in central Gaza. Some refugees who've taken shelter in the area originate from Rafah. The UN estimates about 20% of Gaza's population has been displaced again in the past week. The humanitarian situation continues to be of grave concern in Gaza. This video shows a group of Israeli settlers destroying aid headed to the Strip. The White House has condemned this, calling it a total outrage. The UN has warned parts of Gaza are now experiencing a complete famine.
NBC News correspondent Hala Garani is in Cairo, Egypt, with the very latest. Hala, good morning. So the health ministry in Gaza also says the hospital system will collapse in just hours due to a lack of fuel needed for generators for ambulances to keep the place running. What more do we know? Will this escalate an already dire situation there?
Good morning, Savannah and Joe. Well, 24 hours ago, we were told by UNRWA that there was perhaps 24 hours of fuel left, meaning that today could be the day they run out. 24 to 36 hours of food as well. It's become really an imminent life and death situation for so many hundreds of thousands, especially as most Rafah evacuees are not in organized camps in the way that we imagine them with, UNHCR tents, with any kind of facilities. They have no water, no electricity. They're on hot, sandy dunes. And there's reportedly only one partially functioning hospital, as medical facilities rely, as you mentioned, on that fuel to power generators. And we spoke to one Gazan who said that the system is not collapsing, that it has already collapsed. So you could imagine how dire the humanitarian situation has become, especially considering that most of those displaced are very young, women, children, and the elderly. Savannah and Joe.
Hala, the U.S. says that it is determined Israel has gathered enough troops on the border of Rafah to launch a full-scale invasion in the coming days. First, here's what National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan had to say about the situation.
We still believe would be a mistake to launch a major military operation into the heart of Rafah that would put huge numbers of civilians at risk without a clear strategic gain. The president was clear that he would not supply certain offensive weapons for such an operation were it to occur. It has not yet occurred. We are talking to Israel about how to connect their military operations to a clear strategic endgame, about a holistic, integrated strategy to ensure the lasting defeat of Hamas and a better alternative future for Gaza and for the Palestinian people.
So, Hala, walk us through what you're hearing on the ground about the attacks leading up to this invasion in Rafah. Right. Is a total victory against Hamas even possible at this point?
Well, we've heard from many analysts, and we're hearing now from U.S. officials, including the Secretary of State himself, that there are concerns that Hamas regrouping in the north means that the IDF, the Israeli military, has become engaged in a long-term battle with an ultimate goal that is unrealizable, so that you have an insurgency that is forming in the north. So an insurgency fighting a regular army usually could ultimately longer-term spell trouble for the regular army. We've seen it in other theaters. We've seen it in other war zones. And as far as the ceasefire itself, we're hearing now from the Qatari prime minister, who is saying that he doesn't believe that on the Israeli side there is any clarity on how to stop the war. And he said that the talks broke down even though there was momentum, but now that we might be going backwards. So really not great news for those who are pushing very hard for a ceasefire in Gaza.
All right, Hala Garani, thank you very much.
In Baltimore, the next phase in the cleanup of debris from the Francis Scott Key Bridge is now underway. Crews conducted a controlled demolition yesterday. That blast broke apart remnants of the span that are still resting on the cargo ship, which has been stuck in place since the collapse. The ship collided with the bridge in March, causing a deadly collapse that killed 6 workers. NBC News correspondent George Solis has the latest from Baltimore.
With a reverberating boom, a major section of the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge disappearing in a cloud of smoke. The controlled demolition comes after weeks of careful planning to remove a massive piece of the bridge that's sitting on top of the 984-foot container ship.
Captain, did everything go according to plan?
Yes, so we did the blast. The section separated, so it went according to plan.
Demolition crews made small cuts into the steel, then placed small charges to ensure accuracy of the blasts. The dolly has been sitting essentially frozen in time since it lost power and rammed the bridge on March 26. New police body camera footage obtained by NBC News shows the shock of first responders that night.
Like there is no bridge.
6 people were killed, all Latino immigrants who were filling potholes when the collision occurred. The body, the final victim, was found just last week. The ship's 21-member crew has remained on board and sheltered in place during the controlled explosion. Federal investigators are still looking into how and why the ship lost power. The governor says the Port of Baltimore is close to fully reopening and vowing to rebuild.
Rebuilding the Francis Scott Key Bridge is not about nostalgia. It's about necessity. This is a critical artery.
The dolly will be refloated and moved back to the Port of Baltimore within a few days. The goal to fully reopen the channel by the end of the month. Back to you.
All right, George, thank you.
Let's now get a check on your morning news now weather forecast for a closer look at the severe storms impacting the South.
Meteorologist Angie Lastman is here. Angie, good morning.
Good morning, guys. It's already been an active morning, especially across the Gulf Coast, where we've seen multiple tornado watches in effect. We've seen some expire for parts of the Panhandle. Now we see a big chunk of the northern half of Florida under this tornado watch through the morning hours and into early afternoon. It's set to expire at 1 p.m. But notice all the thunderstorms that continue to march to the east. We've got a whole lot of activity now offshore with just some lingering showers along the Panhandle, Pensacola, Tallahassee. You saw a really strong line of thunderstorms working through Jacksonville on deck for that here as we go through the next couple of hours. Hence the severe thunderstorm warnings that we've already seen in that area. And as we look ahead to this afternoon, more where that came from. So it's not just this batch of early morning storms that we're going to watch. Notice this goes in the afternoon and evening hours. And where you see the yellow, that's a slight risk. So an elevated chance for us to see some of these stronger storms. That means Jacksonville, Gainesville, Tampa, Orlando, all could see some of the stronger storms developing later today. The impacts look to be mainly for strong winds. So gusts over 60, maybe 70 miles per hour. We likely will see a lower risk of tornadoes, but we can't rule out a couple of those, albeit brief, tornadoes happening here as we get into the afternoon hours. And the threat for hail looks low, but we will still also see some additional rainfall in that region, presenting some problems as we go through the day today. Big picture look at your futurecast. It does show quite an unsettled kind of eastern half of the country. So we've got these scattered showers here across this region. These are going to rotate into parts of the mid-Atlantic through the day today. Notice some of that rain in the northeast too, and across parts of the Great Lakes. We keep those isolated strong storms in the picture tomorrow near the Carolina coast, but we're not looking at anything at all that impressive when it comes to strong storms. We will, however, see a risk for some flood alerts. So this is today, 2 million people. It's mainly parts of the Panhandle. We've seen some good soaking rain over the past couple of hours, so we're going to watch for some flooding concerns there, mainly localized. But notice as we get into Thursday, guys, Texas to Louisiana, Mississippi, this area has been hard hit with rain, and we likely will see 3 to 5 inches as we get through Saturday. So we're concerned once again with flooding for that region.
Just nonstop there, ladies.
Nonstop, honestly.
Thank you, Angie.
Thanks, Angie.
Much more to come here in Morning News Now. Later this hour, we've got the fever. Hoop dreams about to become a reality for basketball star Caitlin Clark. More on the hype as she makes her official WNBA debut tonight.
Up first after the break, though, a museum curator accused in a creepy, crawly crime. We will explain when we come right back. Welcome back. Police in Istanbul are accusing a museum curator of smuggling thousands of, get this, spiders and scorpions with venom worth millions of dollars. But the curator from the American Museum of Natural History right here in New York says he was just doing his job. NBC News International correspondent Matt Bradley explains.
As museum curator Lorenzo Prandini makes his way through the airport in Istanbul,
Inside his bags are roughly 1,500 spiders, tarantulas, and scorpions, with venom worth up to $10 million per vial. Police in civilian clothing talking to him at security before taking his bag into a back room, pulling out dozens of sealed bags and vials containing various types of scorpions, spiders, and tarantulas, endemic to Turkey. The Istanbul police say they also seized 88 bottles containing liquids and accused Prendini of trying to smuggle the specimens out of the country. But the curator, who was detained by the Istanbul police Monday and has since been released, tells NBC News the arrest was a, quote, total hit job. Writing in part in a statement, I have permits to do this work in collaboration with colleagues at a Turkish university from the relevant Turkish ministry. I presented them to the police at the airport, but they completely ignored this. The American Museum of Natural History hasn't responded to NBC's request for comment. According to its website, Prendini works as a curator for the arachnid collections.
My work is focused on primarily discovering and describing new species, going out into nature and finding these animals, understanding how they're distributed geographically over the landscape.
In a video posted in 2012, he describes precarious situations he found himself in while on the job.
From being shot at by policemen in Puerto Rico to having run-ins with farmers who, accusing us of stealing their sheep in South Africa, encounters with lions and leopards.
Our thanks to Matt Bradley for that report. While the curator tells NBC News he appeared before a judge and was released without being charged, he says he's planning to travel to Turkey today. Let's get you some international headlines now, starting with a deadly billboard collapse in India. Claudio Lavanga joins us from Rome with that and more. Claudio, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah. That's right. Authorities in India say that so far at least 14 people have been killed and dozens more were injured after a billboard collapsed in the city of Mumbai. Now, it happened in the suburbs of India's financial capital, which has been battered by severe thunderstorms and heavy rain. The authorities say at least 47 people have been rescued so far and are receiving hospital treatment. An investigation has been ordered. Let's move to Canada now, where hundreds of residents were forced to evacuate as wildfires are raging across the country. More than 100 blazes are burning across Canada, with some of them threatening residential villages. In the province of Manitoba, 500 people were told to evacuate, and almost 5,000 people living in and around Fort Nelson in Western Canada were told to leave their homes. Experts say that extremely dry conditions and winds of up to 25 miles per hour are fueling the fires. And let's end this tour in the world of K-pop. Fans of Korean pop bands from around the world are turning their common musical passion into climate and environmental activism. Many have joined forces with K-pop for Planet, an environmental group founded in 2021 by two K-pop fans. They are protesting business deals linked to coal power, urge K-pop entertainers to cut waste, and raise awareness about climate-related issues. Among their petitions is their request to South Korean automaker Hyundai to scrap a deal with coal power plants in Indonesia. Back to you.
That's pretty interesting because K-pop fans are such a fandom. It's kind of cool to see them do something good with it. Claudio Lavanga, thank you so much. Well, coming up, students now facing a different kind of threat at school. AI is being used to create explicit photos of teens. More on the troubling trend and what's being done about it. Plus, bad for the brain, what researchers are saying about a link between loneliness and neurodegenerative diseases. Your weekly check-in is next on Morning News Now. We're back now with a look at a growing problem impacting teenage girls nationwide. AI-generated explicit photos and videos, and now they're being created by fellow students and making their way into schools. Here's NBC News correspondent Valerie Castro with more on the troubling trend.
Teenagers across the country faced with a new kind of threat at school, AI-generated nude photos of students like Francesca in New Jersey.
I did start crying because I was very emotional.
Stevie in Illinois.
It was just immediately felt like nauseous and gross because yeah, it's my face there, but that's not my body.
And this teen in Florida who doesn't want to be identified.
It makes me feel
violated. The images created by classmates, some made with nudification apps and spread among students. Parents grappling with the fallout.
We do believe that they have been potentially posted online. We've been referred to the National Center of Exploited Children.
Stephanie Essex says her daughter Stevie was one of several students at Richmond Burton High School northwest of Chicago who found out explicit AI-generated photos had been created by a classmate. The school's principal telling NBC News in a statement they are unable to discuss an ongoing investigation involving students. This is Stevie's prom picture that she posted to social media last year. The image was then altered. Her face merged onto a nude body.
If you didn't know they were fake and you didn't know the situation, you were just showing it to a random person on the street, they would believe it's real.
Legislation around AI-generated images, even of minors, is murky in most states because the photos aren't considered real. At the federal level, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, also a victim of AI-generated porn, has introduced a law to allow victims to sue someone for creating non-consensual AI-generated content, calling it digital forgery. Some states like South Dakota, Louisiana, and Washington have passed their own laws to combat sexually explicit AI images of minors. Several others, including California, New York, and Illinois, have introduced legislation.
It has to be punished and stopped.
Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul pushing a bill to clarify the state's child pornography laws to include AI-generated images.
How do you even address that when it's a teenager creating this AI content?
Well, part of what we do when we put laws on the books is we try to create a deterrent.
Some students have faced consequences. 5 were expelled from a Beverly Hills middle school earlier this year, accused of creating AI-generated nudes of other 8th grade students.
This behavior will not be tolerated.
Beverly Hills police launched a criminal investigation they say is still ongoing.
You want to see criminal charges in this case?
There absolutely should be criminal charges.
In Stevie's case, 2 minors were arrested, according to the state's attorney's office, charged with a total of 34 counts of child pornography.
For the victims or the targets, it could change the trajectory of their lives, and for the perpetrators, it can change the trajectory of their lives.
Devorah Heitner, parenting and technology expert and author of Growing Up in Public, Coming of Age in a Digital World, says policing alone won't solve the problem.
We really want to focus on prevention, teaching kids how to use these tools ethically, and taking an educational and not just punitive approach when it does go wrong.
What are your prom shoes? Stevie's mom not shying away from speaking out.
If being louder about it means that there's more legislation that gets up faster so that people can be held accountable, then that's what we're going to do.
While Stevie is going to prom again this year.
Prom pictures are part of that.
Yeah, I'm definitely nervous for posting that. I just hope those don't end up on the news too.
Our thanks to Valerie Castro for that report. Well, just last year, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children got nearly 5,000 reports of sexually explicit content made with AI. Let's keep this conversation going with our weekly mental health check-in. We're going to kick things off by taking a closer look at the impact that these deepfake images can have on young girls' mental health. We'll also get into loneliness and how that can actually change your brain. Here to help us out is Dr. Soumya Dave, who's a psychiatrist, author of What a Happy Family, and of course, friend of the show. Dr. Dave, always good to have you with us. Let's start on this story. I mean, apart from some of the devastation of seeing yourself exposed online without consent, I mean, let's talk about the mental health impact. I don't even know if it's quantifiable, that you can see something that you know is not actually you but looks just like you, and then also know that your classmates are responsible. I mean, what is the impact this is having on young kids, and what should parents do?
Such a big impact. And we've talked about physical safety before, but this is a huge threat to emotional safety. So anything that can be done to reestablish a sense of emotional safety is something that's going to go a long way. And I often recommend starting with open-ended, non-judgmental questions. So that can include ones like, how can I best support you? What's coming up for you? Do you want to meet with a therapist more regularly? Can we go to a support group together? What are you thinking about for your future? Because again, we want to reestablish as much of a sense of emotional safety as possible. This can also cause so much trauma, and I want us to all just remember that trauma can have consequences in the short, medium, and long-term effects, so to really closely watch this over time. And of course, for families to have ongoing conversations about how they're using their devices, what are the ethical uses of these devices, and how are they affecting every member of the family, because I think prevention and ongoing dialogue about this is so, so important, because like you said, this just has so many impacts in different ways.
God, it really does. I think it's also super important that parents are talking to their boys or sort of somebody who could potentially make these images and make sure they understand just how much they're impacting someone else's life. Dr. Dave, I also want to talk now, we mentioned loneliness. The Surgeon General has called that an epidemic. We've talked about that quite a bit here on this show. Now researchers are saying that loneliness can actually change our brains, even so much to the point that it could raise our risk for neurodegenerative diseases. How does that work? And what should we do about this? How can we fight against loneliness?
So loneliness can have so many different impacts, and what research has found is that it can cause structural changes to the parts of the brain that are responsible for social and emotional processing. There's also data that shows that when we are lonelier, we're more stressed, and when we're stressed, there's increased inflammation, and inflammation can affect all different parts of the body. There's also data showing a link between loneliness and an increased risk for Alzheimer's disease. So many different potential impacts, and I think a reminder that the quality of our relationships directly affects the quality of our health and our lives. So when we are taking the time to have conversations with someone, to make face-to-face plans, to frequently check in, to maybe even explore with a therapist why we feel lonely, all of those things are investments we are making in our physical health and in our emotional health over time.
Great information there. Okay, last but not least, we always got to bring in something that's happening on TikTok, which is actually important just because it means that so many young people are seeing it, engaging with this. People on TikTok are talking about what's called delulu thinking. I actually like this word a lot. It's short for delusional. So some people argue that being a little bit delulu is helpful for dreaming or being creative or achieving big goals. But other people say it's unhealthy. What exactly is your take? Like, I think obviously if you call somebody like straight up delusional, it's obviously not a compliment. But the way I've seen it sort of in context, delulu is it's like, oh, you're a little bit out there, but maybe like I just said, it helps you kind of reach the next step, or you're sort of faking it till you make it. What do you think?
So I think it's important to start off with something that we want to distinguish between, which is delusional disorder, which is a mental health disorder characterized by someone having a fixed false belief that persists even when they keep receiving information against that fixed false belief. Now, delulu thinking, as you said, is a more colloquial, casual term. It refers more to a mindset, and it can involve daydreaming, having big fantasies, having big goals. I think the goal really here is balance, right? So sometimes when we set a really big, grand goal, it can inspire us to make great changes in our lives. And on the other hand, if having that big goal and not meeting it makes us feel dejected, stuck, unable to move forward, we're maybe getting into a category that's a little bit less healthy. So I encourage anyone who's thinking about embracing this type of mentality and mindset to engage in regular self-reflection. Make sure that the goals and the actions are reality-based. Speak to other people about it. Get that perspective from people whom you trust. And also remember that it's normal to have a full spectrum of emotions for any given experience. So it's okay if we don't feel positively all the time.
Like you say, are reality-based. I'm not sure also if you can see somebody had fun with the words that are underneath us right now. Is delulu the solulu, which I think is supposed to mean, I'm pretty sure we made that up, but I think it means is being a little delulu the solution to maybe reaching some of those dreams.
That one's gonna stick.
I don't know, I heard some good input. I think it's good. All right, Dr. Dave, always good to see you. Thank you very much. All right, coming up, a roaring revival. Meme stocks surging after the return of the investor who led the 2021 GameStop frenzy. I'm sure you'll remember him, Roaring Kitty. But could history really repeat itself? What you should know before you buy in. And the hype is real tonight. Basketball star Caitlin Clark set to make her WNBA debut in front of a sold-out crowd. How the Caitlin Clark effect is putting women's sports in the spotlight. Stay with us for more of Morning News Now.
Welcome back. It appears the meme stock frenzy is back with a vengeance. Shares of GameStop soared more than 70% yesterday after one of the investors at the center of the craze, which took off back in 2021, resurfaced online.
Yeah, but like in just kind of a chill way, and yet this still happened. It's the first time Roaring Kitty, also known as Keith Gill, that's his real name, had posted in 3 years. This is what he posted. It was a meme on X, this simple drawing of a gamer leaning forward in a chair, and it sent investors reeling.
All right, we're going to dive into all this with editor-in-chief of Investopedia and friend of the show, Caleb Silver. Caleb, good morning. All right, so at one point, the stock surged as much as 110% during yesterday's session. Trading even had to be stopped a few times because of it. What should we make of all this? Because I find this a little scary that this can happen with one picture like that.
Yeah, I think investors who are piling into these stocks are a little delulu themselves right now, because all it took was that tweet from Keith Gill plus a little follow-up Ferris Bueller movie clip. but this is a bunch of retail investors who were so excited back in 2021 to get into stocks that Wall Street, a lot of companies had been shorting, betting against. They see that these big hedge funds are betting against these stocks, so they've been piling into these stocks, both buying the stock and buying the options. GameStop this morning up another 134% pre-market. It's going to be another wild ride today.
And it wasn't just GameStop. AMC, the movie theater chain, up 75%. Reddit also traded a little higher. Are we in for another full-blown meme stock frenzy, or is there a Salulu?
Yeah. Very nice. I would say this is a squall, but a pretty intense squall, because we haven't heard from Keith Gill, a.k.a. Roaring Kitty, or a lot of the traders that used to hang around Wall Street Bets for 3 years right now. Keith Gill hadn't tweeted since 2021. Now that they're back, they're targeting these stocks that were some of the favorites back in 2021, again, that hedge funds were shorting to try to bid the stock prices up and make these hedge funds lose a lot of money. And you can make a lot of money trading these if you're super smart and you time it right. Most people lose money. And don't forget the fact that while GameStop shot up yesterday and it's probably going to go up again today, the stock is down 65% from its highs in 2021. This is not about the health of the company. This is about an emotional pile-on into some of these stocks that is a lot of fun to watch, but super scary if you're trying to trade it.
Okay, honestly, gold stars for both of you. Like, those were just really chef's kiss on those uses there. I loved it. Caleb, you just mentioned it's not about the health of the company. It's this emotional rally. Take us back. Remind us, 3 years ago, what exactly happened, how, and why?
Yeah, well, that was the pandemic, right? So many of these companies, especially at GameStop, which sat inside malls, people had to go and buy games back in the day. A lot of hedge funds were shorting these stocks, betting against them, betting that they would fall. Well, Keith Gill, Roaring Kitty, and a lot of other individual traders who had nothing better to do because we were stuck at home started piling into these stocks and buying them to bid the share price up and make who's ever shorting the stock pay 3 times the money that they had borrowed to short the stocks and punish these hedge funds. He put a couple of hedge funds out of business in the process. So that was what started it back then. Well, we're out of the pandemic. We have online gaming. People can go out to a baseball game now. So there's a lot less people trading. Retail trading activity is 5% lower than it was back then. So don't expect this to turn into a huge forest fire, but it is fun to watch, but very scary if you're trying to trade it.
Well, we've already had a movie about it, in fact. So
the
for the average investor, someone who may be looking at this and saying, hey, I can make some quick money, what's your advice? What's the questions they should be asking?
Well, the questions they should be asking is, how long is this going to last? And if you want to try to buy this stock now, you better put a price target on when you're going to get out, because when they fall fast. The harder they come, the harder they fall with these meme stocks. So if you're going to trade it, do it with just a teeny part of your portfolio and pick the number where you need to get out and pick the number at the bottom, the stop out where you can't take the loss anymore. That's the only way to do it. For the rest of us, just stand there and watch in amusement as Roaring Kitty roars and the Delulus get back into the party.
All right. Caleb Silver, as always, especially this morning.
That was fabulous. Thank you for that laugh. All right, some more financial headlines this morning, starting with Walmart. The retailer is reportedly cutting some corporate positions.
CNBC's Silvana Henao has that and other money news. Silvana, good morning.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Savannah. Good morning to you. So Walmart is planning to lay off hundreds of corporate workers and is asking others to relocate. The Wall Street Journal reports employees in smaller offices in Dallas, Atlanta, and Toronto are being asked to move to larger, more central hubs such as Hoboken, New Jersey, and Walmart's hometown of Bentonville, Arkansas. The company is also asking most remote workers to return to the office. Walmart reports quarterly earnings on Thursday. Google's annual I/O Developers Conference kicks off today with a keynote by CEO Sundar Pichai. Now, you can expect to hear updates about Android 15, Google Search, and the new lower-cost Pixel 8 phone, as well as a flood of news about AI features and tools. OpenAI may be trying to get the jump on Google, the maker of ChatGPT, unveiling a new AI language model during an event yesterday that can use voices, emotions, and tone across text, pictures, and video. OpenAI says the new model will be offered for free. And Disney World's newest attraction is officially opening at the end of next month, announcing Tiana's Bayou Adventure during American Idol this weekend. The ride, based on the movie The Princess and the Frog, is coming to the Magic Kingdom on June 28th, and it replaces Splash Mountain, which closed last year. Another version of the Tiana ride is set to open at Disneyland later this year, guys.
All right.
It's a fun ride.
There you go.
That's exciting.
But then you're wet for a few hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, and there's like no strategy to it. You're like, in the front, you're dry.
It's never right. If you're tall, you get wet. All right. Silvana, thank you so much.
Well, the day has finally come for one of the biggest basketball stars of the moment, Caitlin Clark. She's officially going to hit the big league tonight, making her primetime debut with the Indiana Fever.
Connecticut's Mohegan Sun Arena will serve as the backdrop for the former Iowa Phenom's first regular season appearance. Her team will go head-to-head with the Connecticut Sun. And if you were hoping for a seat, well, might be a little too late. The Sun announced yesterday that, no surprise, they're sold out.
NBC Sports play-by-play announcer, reporter, and friend of the show who always joins us to talk on this is Zora Stevenson. She joins us for a preview of this highly anticipated game. Zora, always great to have you with us. So it's obviously sold out because Caitlin Clark's regular season debut is happening, but this is this huge moment, right? Also for the Connecticut Sun. I mean, I guess they haven't sold out a home opener in over 20 years. So tell us just like even that little fact, what that tells us about the Caitlin Clark effect headed into the WNBA.
Yeah, well, first off, if you can tell, I'm ready for the start of the season. Exciting times in women's basketball. It reminds you of what happened in the college game with Caitlin Clark. Yes, all of the Iowa games at home sold out, but I was on the road going to a bunch of different games, and there was lines everywhere. Everywhere the Iowa Hawkeyes went, fans followed, and there were sold-out crowds. So it seems that the same is going to happen in the WNBA, but this is years in the making, right? You've got teams like the Las Vegas Aces that have sold out for the season. I was at the WNBA finals last year in New York. The Liberty sold out games. And so it's a culmination of so many people that have worked hard for this moment. And Caitlin Clark is the perfect athlete and the perfect person to help take it over the hump and take it to new heights. So it'll be so exciting to see her in her WNBA debut. She's a competitor, right? There's a reason that she decided to go to the WNBA and forgo another season at Iowa. And the time is now. She had great showings in the preseason. And so it'll be exciting this Connecticut Sun team, they're physical. So it'll be exciting to see how everything translates to the next level for her.
You mentioned the preseason. After her first preseason game, Caitlin said this about her transition into the big league.
I mean, it comes down to every single possession. I think that's the biggest thing is like when you're on the court with this much talent, like you can't take a second off. You relax for 1 second and they're going to beat you on a screen. They're going to beat you on a whatever it is. I think that's the biggest thing is like you cannot relax in this league for 1 second.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the pros now. Where do you think she'll excel? What are some of the challenges she might face?
Yeah, I mean, the physicality, she touched on it, right? This league is full of professionals. It's the best league in the world for women's basketball. And so she's constantly, she's always moving, but she's just going to get a little extra nudge when she's coming off of screens or trying to create space for her shot. Where I think she's going to excel, though, is in the open court. Her passing, her vision is second to none. And now she's playing with people that know how to run the floor at certain angles, that have certain hands. She's playing with a fellow #1 pick in Aaliyah Boston, another national champion. I mean, this Indiana Fever team is full of winners. Talked about #1 pick Aaliyah Boston from a season ago. You've got Katie Lou Samuelson, who won at Connecticut. Nalissa Smith, who's another post player, won at Baylor. Lexi Hull, who won at Stanford. I mean, this is a group that, 10th in the WNBA last year, but obviously with the addition of Caitlin Clark and another year under the belt with this core, they're looking to make some strides.
Zora, so exciting, and we can't wait to talk to you about it after it all happens. Thanks for joining us, as always.
All right.
Coming up, he is 106 and feeling fly, literally.
When we come back, the skydiving stunt that landed a World War II vet back in the record books. Stay with us. You're watching Morning News Now.
Let's end the hour with a 106-year-old World War II veteran who was determined to take back a world record.
Good for him. NBC News correspondent Rahima Ellis has more on how he once again became the oldest ever person to carry out a tandem skydive.
For Texas centenarian Al Blaschke, his daredevil days took off in his golden years. Al first trying his hand at skydiving in 2017 as a way to celebrate his 100th birthday.
Oh, wow. Wonderful.
Pretty amazing,
Fantastic.
his second skydive at age 103, earning him the Guinness World Record for oldest tandem skydiver. But since then, Swedish great-grandmother Rut Larson broke that record in 2022. Al upping the rivalry, vowing to take that title back, teaming up with Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
He says he'd jump with me. He's a man of his word.
The pair jumping from 9,000 feet last November.
What do you think, Al? We just broke the world record.
I lost my breath.
You lost your breath?
I can't hardly talk.
You're looking good, buddy.
Well, I wasn't paying any attention to that. I was just paying attention to what was going on. It was a little bit unusual, a little bit chillier than I'm used to.
Now, Guinness World Records has made that attempt official. At 106 years old, Al is still smiling.
You're smiling. The whole world smiles with you.
Happy to be back on top of the skydiving world.
And every letter I write and every Christmas card I send, keep smiling. Always.
We did it. We did it again. We did it again.
Okay,
Good
no one
for him.
better take that record from him.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay. I don't think there's anyone around, but all right.
Good for him. How
Congrats
amazing.
to him.
Yeah.
Thanks to Rahema for that report. That's going to do it for this hour of morning news now.
The news continues right now. Good morning. Thanks for joining us this Tuesday. I'm Savannah Sellers.
I'm Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now, Michael Cohen returns to the stand in the criminal trial of his former boss, former President Donald Trump. What the former president's fixer-turned-foe said about the alleged payment to Stormy Daniels days before the 2016 election, as the defense prepares to zero in on his credibility. Race to escape Rafah. Hundreds of thousands flee ahead of a possible Israeli invasion. A harsh new warning from Secretary Blinken, as American officials say it appears the IDF is preparing to expand operations. Also this morning, an explosion rocks the port of Baltimore. It was a controlled demolition on a section of that collapsed bridge in Baltimore. It's been sitting on top of the Dolly cargo ship for months. A new insight into the moments after the collapse and what's next in the push to reopen that critical port. Plus, he got his start in comedy in the most unlikely of places. Now he has a new special out. It has already racked up nearly 500,000 views in just over 24 hours. We're sitting down with Ali Siddiq to talk about his rise to fame and how he went from prison to the top of the comedy circuit. Looking forward to having that conversation and seeing the lessons he learned and the way he's making people laugh. Let's begin this hour with the criminal hush money trial of Donald Trump. Joining the former president in court this morning, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. It is another big day. Mr. Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, is expected to face tough questions by the defense when he's cross-examined.
Yeah, Cohen is back on the stand after yesterday's highly anticipated testimony in which he alleged that Mr. Trump urged him to buy the silence of Stormy Daniels and approved a repayment plan. That was all in the run-up to the 2016 election. While Mr. Trump, for his part, denies the allegations, he also denies he had a sexual relationship with the adult film star. NBC News senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett has the story.
Hey there, Michael Cohen on the witness stand yesterday. Far different than the version we have all seen in the past. He was calm, measured, and damaging to his old boss, directly connecting Donald Trump to an alleged scheme in a way no other witness in this trial has been able to do. The only question now, does the jury believe him?
This morning, Michael Cohen back on the stand.
Plan on telling the truth?
The state's star witness expected to face a grilling by the defense team as soon as today. On Monday, Cohen telling jurors Donald Trump instructed him to pay off a porn star on the eve of the 2016 election and then approved a plan to pay him back. Cohen said Mr. Trump told him, quote, just take care of it, describing a campaign in damage control after the Access Hollywood tape leaked. Mr. Trump's longtime fixer detailing how his former boss was dead set on keeping Stormy Daniels quiet. Once they got word she planned to go public with a story Mr. Trump has long denied about a one-night stand. Cohen recalling Mr. Trump in despair, saying, "This is a disaster, a total disaster. Women are going to hate me. Guys may think it's cool, but this is going to be a disaster for the campaign." Cohen also testifying Mr. Trump wasn't concerned about his wife Melania's reaction, only his election chances, saying Mr. Trump joked about finding another wife. Quote, he goes, "How long do you think I will be on the market for? Not long." Mr. Trump, Cohen says, also told him to hold off paying Daniels as long as possible, saying, "If I win, it has no relevance. If I lose, I don't even care." And later reassuring him, "Don't worry about it. You will get the money back." The former president's reimbursement of Cohen for paying Daniels off and how prosecutors allege it was hidden on Mr. Trump's internal books as legal expenses at the heart of the 34 felony counts the former president has pled not guilty to in this trial.
There's no crime here. This is 4 weeks of keeping me from not campaigning.
Cohen walking the jury through a critical meeting he says he had at Trump Tower before the then president-elect left for Washington, where the men hashed out how Cohen would be repaid in monthly installments, the only witness to testify about Mr. Trump's advanced knowledge of the reimbursement plan.
Prosecutors say they still need a bit more time with Michael Cohen today. They left off taking a little bit of time in the middle of some significant testimony on the reimbursement details, and then it will be the defense team's turn at cross-examination. Back to you.
All right, Laura, thank you.
For more, let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos. Good to have you with us. So just overall, what did you make of Cohen's testimony so far? Was it damning at all for Mr. Trump when it comes to what the prosecution needs to actually get a conviction here?
By definition, it was damning, or else the prosecution never would have called Michael Cohen. After all, he's got a lot of liability for the prosecution because he's got so many credibility problems. But what the prosecution did is they built their case over the last few weeks by introducing a lot of evidence, a lot of documents, and a lot of testimony that tends to corroborate Michael Cohen's direct testimony. And on the whole, it seems from, I wasn't in there, but reading the sort of the up-to-date reports from in the courtroom, seems like he was answering questions in a measured way, that he was relatively calm. I'm sure he was nervous. But really, direct examination is the easy part. Cross is where the rubber hits the road.
You mentioned all this evidence entered. Tell us about some of that sort of backs up his claims, and how effective do you think it was?
Well, there are no surprises yesterday. Michael Cohen testified about his transaction, his payment to Stormy Daniels, his discussions with Donald Trump about the Stormy Daniels issue, about the campaign, about how it affected the campaign, and presumably we're going to get more into today, even more direct orders from Donald Trump to go pay Stormy Daniels, and that he would be reimbursed. That's really what Michael Cohen, the only thing arguably that he really offers that you can't get from anywhere else, is conversations with Donald Trump where Donald Trump orders him to pay Stormy Daniels and lets him know that he will reimburse him with knowledge of all of the false entries and business records.
You say cross-examination is where the rubber hits the road. What do you expect the defense to focus on when they do cross-examine?
His credibility. They're going to call him a liar. They're going to say he has a motive to lie because he wants revenge. It's literally the title of one of his books. And that revenge is against Donald Trump. And they're going to explore whether he had a motive to lie and come to court and lie about Donald Trump because he's still angry at him. And if the prosecution does its job right, that credibility issue won't be as damaging to the prosecution because of all this other evidence they've already introduced that corroborates. So they can stand up in closing and say, you may find Michael Cohen to be a generally bad person, but his testimony is consistent with the other things that are indisputable.
All right. Danny Savalos, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, the Biden administration is continuing to pressure Israel this morning, saying leaders lack an end goal in the ongoing war with Hamas. But Prime Minister Netanyahu is doubling down on his plans to invade the city of Rafah. Officials warn that decision is putting thousands of lives at risk. NBC News chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel is in Jerusalem with the details.
2 U.S. officials say that Israeli troop movements suggest that a major military operation against Rafah could be imminent, and that Israel has now amassed enough soldiers around the city to carry it out.
The exodus from Rafah is gathering steam this morning. The UN says more than 450,000 Palestinians have already left. President Biden has warned Israel not to invade because of the risk of civilian casualties.
America said that they are pressuring, but you see the pressure, nothing is happening.
Israel says Hamas has 4 battalions of fighters in Rafah and insists going into the city is the only way to clear them out. But will it work? Hamas's tactics are evolving. Its fighters have regrouped in northern Gaza, which the Israeli military claimed to have already cleared. It's a sign Hamas is becoming an insurgency, digging in for a long guerrilla war. The Biden administration says Israel needs a long-term plan for Gaza and that the goals expressed by Israeli leaders may not be realistic.
Total victory. I don't think we believe that that is likely or possible, and that this looks a lot like situations that we found ourselves in after 9/11.
Hamas used to run the services in Gaza, but now it's nowhere to be found. It started the war with Israel and then went underground to fight it. What little aid Gazans receive comes from humanitarian workers. The State Department says it's aware of reports that some American medical volunteers are now trapped after Israel seized control of Rafah's border crossing with Egypt. We spoke to Dr. Amar Ghanem from Michigan.
We have been trying to help, but the need is above what you can imagine.
Israel controls the flow of everything in and out of Gaza, and some Israelis want to stop the flow of aid completely. Extremists have begun attacking trucks, believing food and medicine should not be allowed in as long as Hamas holds hostages.
Support for destroying Hamas is nearly universal in Israel, but there are deep divisions here about Prime Minister Netanyahu's handling of the war. During a speech to mark Memorial Day, a very somber event, Prime Minister Netanyahu was heckled by Israeli citizens.
All right, Richard, thank you.
There are new developments this morning in the cleanup effort following the bridge collapse in Baltimore. An intentional massive explosion broke apart remnants of the bridge that are resting on the container ship that collided with it. NBC News correspondent Ryan Nobles is live near the scene with more on what this means for traffic into the port. Ryan, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. This is a big step in getting the port back up and running. When it's open, $200 million worth of cargo comes in and out of this port every single day. And that span that they blew up yesterday was 500 feet long, and it should set the stage for moving this massive ship right away.
Signs of progress in Baltimore.
Oh, my God.
A controlled demolition of a massive span of steel, still stubbornly on top of the container ship Dolly. The operation prepped beforehand with precision cuts in the steel to allow the heavy metal to fall off the ship and be removed much easier, opening the door for the vessel to finally be removed from the middle of the Patapsco River.
This was a very big milestone for our progression forward. It was a tremendous span that was sitting on top of the vessel, pinning it in place.
The 21-member crew of the ship, still on board since the crash, were moved to a secure location below deck as the explosives went off. The ship has been in a vital shipping channel for close to 2 months after it slammed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge, toppling the almost 50-year-old structure and taking with it a major traffic artery for the metropolitan Baltimore region and shutting down one of the busiest ports in America. 6 construction workers died as a result of the accident. Last body recovered just this week.
This is bad.
The aftermath of the collapse caught on newly released body cam footage from police officers responding to the scene. Those first responders struggling to comprehend the scale of the incident.
Something's missing here in the skylight. The whole center span is gone completely. It's in the water.
The National Transportation Safety Board and the FBI are both conducting investigations into the accident. Baltimore and Maryland leaders have promised a full rebuild of the bridge, a complex and expensive project that could take up to 4 years and cost more than $1.5 billion. But while that remains the long-term goal, in the short term, the priority is to get the port reopened, a process that will get much easier once that massive ship is out of the way.
And they could start the process of moving this ship as soon as today. They're actually waiting for high tide, which is expected around 12:30 local time. They'll then use a series of tugboats to float this massive ship into a nearby terminal with the hope that the port could be back up and running by the end of the month. Joe?
All right, Ryan, thank you.
Well, meanwhile, back here in New York City, police are searching for the person who attacked well-known actor Steve Buscemi in broad daylight.
NBC News correspondent Emily Aketa has the latest on this ongoing investigation. Emily, good morning.
Hey there, guys. Good morning to you. The good news here, the beloved actor is said to be okay and was seen back in public this weekend. But the seemingly random, brazen nature of the attack on Steve Buscemi is raising concern as assaults in the city trend upward this year.
This morning, a first look at critically acclaimed actor Steve Buscemi appearing bruised and battered, just days after police say he was punched in the face in broad daylight in New York City. The NYPD releasing a photo of this individual in connection with the brazen attack that led to the 66-year-old's hospitalization with bruising, swelling, and bleeding to his left eye.
If we band together, I really believe that we could do anything.
One more, yeah.
Buscemi, a beloved New Yorker, born in Brooklyn and serving as a firefighter before winning over America on hit shows like The Sopranos
You're crowding me.
and Boardwalk Empire.
You ever wake up like you know something's wrong, but you can't put your finger on it yet?
Buscemi's publicist saying he is okay and appreciates everyone's well wishes, though incredibly sad for everyone that this has happened to while also walking the streets of New York. The attack on Buscemi comes amid a string of incidents involving residents and celebrities.
The city has changed. I think it's frightening.
In March, authorities say fellow Boardwalk Empire cast member Michael Stuhlbarg was assaulted in Central Park by a homeless man. And in recent months,
So I just got punched in the face walking home.
a stream of women in the city have taken to social media to describe being punched in the face seemingly out of nowhere.
I was literally just walking and a man came up and punched me in the face. Oh my God, it hurts so bad.
Several people have been charged with some of those recent attacks. In New York, felony and misdemeanor assault and robbery are trending up so far this year, but overall crime is slightly down. In recent months, the NYPD adding thousands of uniformed police officers across the subway system and city streets in an effort to deal with the violence.
So police sources say Buscemi had been leaning up against the wall, texting on his phone when he was struck. This morning, police are asking any witnesses with information to come forward as the search for his attacker continues. Scary stuff.
Oh my gosh, so scary.
Thanks, Emily.
Emily.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Severe storms are striking in the south. Let's get a closer look at what to expect with your Morning News Now forecast.
Angie Lassman's back with us. Hey, Angie, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Spring continuing to be a pest when it comes to severe storms. We've got the tornado watch is already up this morning, and they've expanded a little farther south into parts of Florida, much of Florida included in this, and southern portions of Georgia as well. This is going to last until 1 p.m., so through your morning into your early afternoon. We've got one line of thunderstorms kind of marching through that region, Jacksonville up into Georgia, included in that with the severe thunderstorm warning in effect right now. Plenty of activity offshore, too. That's going to stay out over the Gulf of Mexico. But notice, as we get into the afternoon hours, as we get into the evening, we still have that potential to see some of these stronger storms. As far south as Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, Gainesville, all included in that. It mainly encompasses Florida, but we do have a little sliver of Georgia in that as well. Otherwise, where you see the green, just general kind of thunderstorms that we're going to expect. It looks like the strong winds over 60 miles per hour is the best chance for those, but we can't rule out a brief tornado or two. Big picture look for today. We've got plenty of showers around. Take your pick. Scattered showers across parts of the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic as we get into the evening hours too. Those will stick around, and then across parts of the Ohio Valley as well. The strong storms are confined to the southeast, where I showed you today for later today. But we've also got the chance to see a couple of those here in parts of the coastal Carolinas as we get into tomorrow. But notice the rain that will stick around for the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic into your day. Plenty of flood alerts have been issued over the past 24 hours. Now we've got 2 million people with Tallahassee right in the bullseye, but we expect the flooding to be a big concern, especially as we get into later this week. We've got a round of some heavy rain that we're expecting. And we've been dealing with just repeated rounds of that heavy rain across this section of the country, the southern plains stretching into the Gulf Coast. That's where we have a moderate risk. This is for Thursday, so not today, but just a look ahead. Keep it in your back pocket because we likely will see this upgraded with heavy rain on tap. We've got Lufkin, Alexandria included in that, as we gear up for anywhere from 1 inch to 3 inches of rain. This is the Thursday to Saturday timeframe, so look how expansive this good soaking rain is. It goes from the Carolinas all the way into parts of Texas, and again, those highest amounts are centered across those areas that we've seen a whole lot of rain in the past couple of weeks. So super saturated soils. It's not going to be hard for us to see some flooding there. A look at your Friday: showers and thunderstorms from the Great Lakes to the Gulf Coast. We've got plenty of sunshine across the plains in the west. It'll be quite warm out west as well. You see a couple of temperatures flirting with the triple digits across the desert southwest. And then, yep, it's the weekend. So, of course, it's soggy across the east, right? That's the running joke at this point. But the middle of the country looks great. You'll get a little bit of a break from the rain in the southern plains. It'll feel like summer with temperatures inching to the upper 80s across places in the Midwest. We've got 80s on tap across the Great Lakes as well, and lots of sunshine for folks out west. By Sunday, mild conditions, but for the west, but quite hot for the middle of the country. And you guessed it, still rain around across the east, guys.
Oh, lovely.
All right.
Thanks, Angie. We've got much more to come on this edition of Morning News Now, including why some restaurants are now ditching tipping, what that means for workers, and your bottom line just ahead.
But first, the children's book author accused of murdering her husband is back in the courtroom. The new filings investigators say are shedding light on a possible motive. Next. Welcome back. The 3 men accused of killing longtime Boston crime boss James Whitey Bulger while in prison have agreed to a plea deal with federal prosecutors. Now, the details of that agreement have not been made public. Bulger, seen here, was killed back in 2018 while serving 2 consecutive life sentences in a West Virginia federal jail. Officials believe one of the 3 men involved in the murder was a rival of Bulger, serving as an enforcer for the New England Mafia. Bulger notoriously ran the streets of South Boston for more than 3 decades. He later acted as an informant for the FBI before becoming a fugitive for 16 years. He was arrested in 2011, charged with 11 murders, extortion, and drug dealing.
Now let's get to another high-profile case we're watching. Prosecutors and defense attorneys are preparing for a preliminary hearing in the murder trial of Corey Richens, a mother and children's book author from Utah accused of murdering her husband. NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz has the latest. Hey, Liz, good morning.
Hey, Savannah, good morning to you. Yeah, Corey Richens has been behind bars now for over a year, charged with a slew of crimes, including aggravated murder for allegedly poisoning her husband with fentanyl. But prosecutors still have to present evidence in order for her case to proceed to trial. Yesterday, she was back in court for 2 separate hearings, and although Corey has not yet entered a plea, she continues to maintain her innocence.
The mom accused of fatally poisoning her husband with fentanyl and later writing a book about grief, appearing back in court one last time Monday before a critical preliminary hearing. Wearing a red turtleneck and black blazer, Corey Richens remaining silent as the murder case against her enters its next phase, with prosecutors now laying out what they say is the evidence against her. In new filings, investigators saying the 34-year-old mom of 3 was financially motivated to kill her husband, Eric, that she owed more than $3 million the day he died, and that she was having an extramarital affair and wanted a divorce. The prosecution says a witness says Corey told them it would be better if Eric Richens was dead. The realtor was arrested last year after first appearing on local television to promote a children's book she wrote inspired by her husband's death in 2022.
So my husband passed away unexpectedly last year.
But a month after that interview, investigators charged her with murder. According to court documents, the night her husband died, Corey told police she had made Eric a Moscow Mule that he drank in their bed. Autopsy results later finding he had 5 times the lethal amount of fentanyl in his system.
5 times the lethal dose is not accidental, Your Honor. That is someone who wants Eric dead.
His family later telling investigators Eric believed Corey may have tried to poison him more than once.
He felt like Corey was trying to kill him, and that if he did die, that she should be investigated for that.
Corey has not yet entered a formal plea, but she and her family say she is innocent.
She loved Eric. She loved her family more than anything.
Corey back in court for 2 hearings this week, a judge ruling that a divorce attorney she met with can't be forced to testify about what they discussed. Meanwhile, Corey sentenced to time served in a separate misdemeanor assault charge stemming from a confrontation she had with her husband's sister shortly after his death.
So, Liz, how is Corey responding, and what can we expect tomorrow?
Yeah, Savannah, so far we've only heard from her family. Her brother's saying they believe Eric's death was an accidental overdose and that Corey is being unfairly portrayed. Prosecutors, however, have laid out nearly 40 pages of evidence against her, including a witness who says she tried to buy fentanyl from them. As for tomorrow, a judge is going to look at all the evidence and hear from witnesses to determine whether there is enough to go to trial. If that happens, at that point, Corey will enter a plea. Savannah.
All right, Liz, thank you very much.
International news now. In Indonesia, devastating flash flooding has killed dozens of people.
Claudia Lavanga joins us from Rome with that and more. Hey, Claudia, good morning.
Savannah, Joe, good morning. That's right. Authorities in Indonesia say that at least 52 people have been killed so far in flash floods in the West Sumatra province. Well, now torrential rain has been battering the area since Saturday, triggering deadly flash floods, landslides, and cold lava flow across that province. At least 3,000 people have been evacuated so far, and at least 17 people are still missing. Authorities warn that more heavy rain is expected until next week. Let's go to Georgia now, where today the parliament is expected to approve a controversial foreign agent law despite mass protests. The law would require non-governmental group and independent media outlets to register as agents of foreign influence. During the weekend, tens of thousands of people took to the streets of the capital, Tbilisi, to protest against what they say is a Russian-style effort to squash free speech. Let's end this tour of the world in London, where two skydivers in wingsuits flew through the iconic Tower Bridge. The two Austrian daredevils, their names are Marco Furst and Marco Walschspiegel, jumped early Sunday from a helicopter 3,000 feet above London. Then they opened their wings, reached max speeds of 150 miles per hour, plunged towards the River Thames and just flew across the bridge. The whole flight took only 45 seconds, but it's something that they and probably us will remember for a lot longer than that.
That's pretty cool. That's impressive.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
It's like
Awesome.
Iron Man. All right,
Yeah.
Claudia, thank you so much.
Skydiving news this morning. All right, the Biden administration says it will move forward with tariff hikes on several goods made in China. That includes quadrupling tariffs on electric vehicles made there.
The increase will affect additional Chinese green energy technology like batteries and solar panels. It's an area the administration is making a large effort to invest in here in the U.S.
NBC News International correspondent Janice Mackey-Freyer joins us now from Beijing. Janice, good morning. So the administration is justifying the move, saying that China's electric vehicles, other green energy products are a threat to U.S. jobs and then also national security. I know you've spoken to manufacturing leaders on the ground there. What are they saying?
Well, these hikes are effectively an update to tariffs that were put in place under the Trump administration and are now being reviewed by the Biden administration. The biggest hike, of course, this 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles, which is quadruple what the tariff is now. And by comparison, vehicle imports under the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Free Trade Agreement are only 2.5%. So this announcement is not being well received here by officials nor by the auto industry. One of the biggest companies here is BYD. This is a company that's taking on Tesla to be the largest EV maker in the world. I spoke recently with Stella Lee. She is the America's CEO at BYD about the Biden administration's moves to keep Chinese electric cars off American roads. What did you make of the Biden administration opening an investigation into smart car technology because of national security concerns that this technology was coming from China?
I don't understand. It's very confused to me because there's no scientist behind, and there's no fact behind.
So national security concerns are overblown?
Overblown, oversensitive, and a misleading message.
Another point that she wanted to make on the national security concerns is that if you're concerned about data being collected from your car, then you should also worry about your phone, because chances are that phone was made in China, too.
So, Janice, I mean, both President Biden and former President Trump have vowed to be tough on China in their next term, both claims to be tougher than the other. So what could this move from the Biden administration mean in a pivotal election year?
Well, it is no coincidence that these stiff tariffs are coming in an election near the vote, less than 6 months away now. And it will be important for the Biden administration to try to bolster what the White House has designated as these critical industries, and in particular the auto industry in states like Michigan and Ohio. That said, an election has never been turned on the China issue, and it isn't clear the extent to which Beijing is going to retaliate. There was a very swift statement from the Commerce Ministry here accusing the Biden administration of contradicting its commitment to Xi Jinping to not, quote, suppress China's development. But it's also no secret that China's economy is sagging right now, and a trade war with the United States is certainly not going to help it.
Janice, electric vehicle models from Chinese automaker BYD, just as one example, they sell for as low as $10,000. I mean, you can barely get a used car for that kind of money in the U.S., never mind a new electric vehicle. So how do U.S. automakers keep up?
Well, that's the golden question. And I mean, on BYD's cars and other cars from Chinese electric vehicle makers, I've test driven a few of them, and the quality and design have been seen as really improving over the past decade. In addition to that, the charging network is in place here. So the infrastructure piece is in place for Chinese electric vehicles to thrive in the Chinese market. That said, demand is beginning to sag here, and Chinese EV makers are still making millions of vehicles. This is where the U.S. concern on overcapacity comes in, that there are a lot of Chinese vehicles that now are not being sold here, and they're being shipped elsewhere in the world. They're going to countries in Europe, South America, and Latin America. So this is the concern for the Biden administration on overcapacity. Companies like BYD are also setting up factories in Mexico. So that's raising concerns as well. Just one last quick point. I spoke recently with the former CEO of Ford, and he was saying that trade barriers and tariffs are going to be important to protect the U.S. market, to give automakers in America the time to catch up. Joe and Savannah.
All right, Janice, thank you so much.
Coming up, a major shakeup to one of the biggest charities in the world.
Yeah, why Melinda Gates is stepping down from the foundation she helped launch and what it means for the future of the organization. That's next.
Welcome back. Melinda French Gates, the ex-wife of Bill Gates, says she's stepping down from the organization that bears her name. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation will now simply be called the Gates Foundation, and as part of a deal, she is getting a hefty chunk of change for her own philanthropy work.
3 years after her divorce from Microsoft founder Bill Gates, a different kind of separation. Melinda French Gates is leaving the foundation they created. This is not a decision I came to lightly, she says. I'm immensely proud of the foundation that Bill and I built together and of the extraordinary work it is doing to address inequities around the world. In response, Bill Gates says, I am sorry to see Melinda leave, but I am sure she will have a huge impact in her future philanthropic work. The foundation's CEO also offering praise.
Her vision and influence will leave a profound and lasting legacy that we will build on going forward.
Melinda says she's getting $12.5 billion to commit to my work on behalf of families, work she highlights often on Today, including last year with Chanel.
Society will be completely different than we know it today if women have equal power, really equal power, where they're making decisions, they're controlling resources, they're setting public policy.
Even though Bill and Melinda divorced in 2021, she stayed with the foundation as co-chair, something Bill discussed with Savannah a year later.
She says you guys are friendly, not necessarily friends, but friendly. How do you see the relationship moving forward?
Well, one of the things we built together is the Gates Foundation. Melinda and I love doing that work together, so I feel very lucky that I still have that with her, as well as, you know, we've got these three incredible kids.
In 2019, another billionaire, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, divorced Mackenzie Scott, who then pledged to give away more than half of her wealth. So far, she has donated over $17 billion. Now, Melinda French Gates will move forward with what she calls the next chapter of her philanthropy.
Melinda French Gates' last day at the foundation is June 7th. As for what she plans to do with that $12.5 billion, she says she'll share more about that in the near future. She did create an initiative back in 2015 called Pivotal Ventures, which focuses on advancing opportunities for women and minorities here in the U.S.
Well, when Meg Morrison isn't helping customers at the Connecticut store where she works, she's taking Peloton classes from her favorite instructor. A few weeks ago, though, Meg got the chance to visit Peloton's New York studio for a class designed just for her. Taylor Kinsler from our NBC affiliate in Hartford, Connecticut has the story.
Meg Morrison is here with us. Hi, Meg.
I was so happy. You couldn't have scripted a better day.
But first, we have to go back to the beginning.
Beans has been in existence for a little over 5 years.
2 families, 1 vision.
To really put the lens on inclusive employment and show people what's possible for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Kim Morrison and Noelle Alex created Beans & Co. for their daughters, a community where everyone belongs.
That's why we want other businesses to do what we do.
Giving employees like Meg Morrison the chance to shine.
That's what is super special, to watch the effect that she has.
Customers know and love that smile. Her energy lights up the cafe and the Peloton leaderboard.
You know, she works out every single day. For the social part of it as well, to be able to see the same person that she just adores, you know, leading a class.
That person is Maddie Magiacomo.
When it became evident that Meg was taking my walk-in classes, obviously it's really hard not to fall in love with her immediately.
They quickly connected on social media and became fast friends with the help of a longtime Beans & Co. customer.
And without even like a hesitation, he's like, let's make her a video where I'm thanking her. And he did. He made a really funny video. And I brought it back and showed her. And like, the rest was history.
That video was just the start. Maddie then designed an entire Peloton class just for Meg.
We surprised her the night before and told her that we would be going to the city. The whole, you know, we got up really early. Yeah, we did. And I did the 30-minute walk, which she killed it.
I love you so much.
He came back to meet us with his Everyone Belongs t-shirt on, gave us a tour of the control center.
And to be able to meet her in real life.
You give really good hugs.
To be able to reach somebody like Meg and to hear Meg's story, it's why I come to work every day. It's why I do this.
Oh, how heartwarming is that? Our thanks to NBC's Taylor Kinsler for that story. Coming up, reaching their tipping point.
When some restaurants are ditching tips and what it could mean for the future of dining out. That's next.
Welcome back. We're going to take a closer look at the changing culture of tipping. Rising costs and inflation are leading many to feel like it's more of a burden rather than a sign of appreciation.
But there is a new push to change the way tip workers get their pay. NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung takes a deep dive into what could be the future of tipping.
To tip or not to tip? That's the question, at least for some restaurateurs. The gratuity model has been tied to American dining for hundreds of years. So when Evan Hangzor opened up Little Egg in Brooklyn last year,
I'm Evan Hangzor, I'm the chef at Little Egg.
He tried to scrap it entirely. For customers, that meant no tip on the receipt. Just sign and go.
Maybe a lot of us had felt during COVID this sort of rise of tip fatigue, to come in and have a meal and just pay what's on the menu and not have to do any math at the end.
The goal of no tipping? To equalize pay between wage-earning back kitchen staff and servers in the front of the restaurant.
I think a lot of people are familiar with the downsides of tipping and the tension that can arise, say, between front and back of house when people are making such different, wages.
Without tips, Little Egg paid all staff front and back $24 to $25 an hour. But 10 months into the experiment, Hangzor reversed. Little Egg lowered prices and brought tips back, in part because consumers were willing to pay more if they could tack on gratuity.
What was the main driver for that switch?
Really just trying to allow our staff to make more money, particularly in the front of house.
Hangzor says the psychology of tipping makes it hard to abandon it.
For a workforce that's still to this day, since 1938,
is still overwhelmingly women, disproportionately women of color, struggling with the highest rates of both economic instability and sexual harassment of any industry because they have to put up with so much from customers to get their income and tips.
Saru Jayaraman is the director of UC Berkeley's Food Labor Research Center. She also leads One Fair Wage, a national organization of 300,000 restaurant and service workers and over 1,000 restaurant owners. The group argues that the solution is to lift the minimum wage for restaurant workers to the same minimum wage as most other industries, while allowing them to continue earning tips.
Word minimum, if you look it up in the dictionary, means that you're not supposed to earn less than that. And yet we have so many different workers who can legally be paid less than that minimum by their employers.
Currently, 15 states have a sub-minimum wage of $2.13, 28 have a sub-minimum wage somewhere above that, and 7 states have abolished it completely. One Fair Wage says abolishing the sub-minimum has led to greater restaurant sales and even more tipping, because restaurant workers with higher wages are then able to dine out and tip better as well.
Could you see yourself going back to a no-tipping model at some point?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think if there's a way to make it easier.
Consumers don't appear to notice the difference.
Tipping is always like, it's kind of a mandatory thing for me. Not mandatory, but if I enjoy the experience, it feels good. It's pretty easy to do.
And on the matter of how many states have already banned the sub-minimum wage in favor of one fair wage for everyone, including service workers, at least 5 states are considering banning the sub-minimum wage as well this year, which could include ballot measures in a number of other states. So this battle on whether or not you should tip in favor of a model that doesn't include tipping at all, that remains to be seen.
All right, Brian, thank you.
Now let's get you more money news. Struggling seafood restaurant chain Red Lobster abruptly closed dozens of locations across the country.
NBC's Savannah Hanau has that and some other money headlines. Savannah, good morning.
Hey guys, good morning to you. Yes, so Red Lobster has abruptly closed dozens of locations around the country, selling them off in what's being called the largest restaurant liquidation ever. About 50 locations are being auctioned off, including furniture, fixtures, and equipment. Last month, Bloomberg reported Red Lobster was considering filing for bankruptcy due to high costs for labor and leases. TikTok is testing AI-generated search results with a new feature called Search Highlights. The Verge reports the material is created with ChatGPT, and TikTok says it displays content when the algorithm finds it relevant to your search. TikTok is trying to incorporate some of the habits users have developed on the app. Many younger users treat TikTok like a search engine, looking up restaurant or product recommendations in the app instead of using Google. And Roku will exclusively stream Major League Baseball games on Sundays starting this coming weekend. They will air on the Roku channel with no subscription or sign-up required, but you will have to download the channel on your Roku or Amazon Fire device, Samsung or Google TV. Roku will stream Sunday leadoff games, which air before the regular slate starts at 1 p.m. Eastern every week through mid-September. Some good news for fans.
There you go. All right, Savannah, thank you so much.
So we're going to go from business news to our next guest, a comedic powerhouse who's in the business of making people laugh through his unique storytelling. Not my strongest joke in front of a professional. There you go.
We'll get some tips, don't worry. Ali Siddiq got his start in comedy in one of the most unlikely places, prison. Now on the outside, he's making his mark on the comedy circuit with appearances on HBO's Def Comedy Jam, Comedy Central, and more. His YouTube series, The Domino Effect, and its sequel have racked up millions of views and a devoted following. Part 3 of the special, The Domino Effect series, First Day of School, is out now.
As soon as them doors close on that police car, everything that you've ever heard about being locked up comes to your mind right then. Everything you've ever heard.
Ali is here with us this morning. Thank you so much for being in studio. Good morning.
Oh, thank y'all for having me.
Oh, we are so excited you're here. So before we get into the special and hear a little bit more about it, just walk us through getting to this point, how your time and your experiences in prison did influence your comedy now.
Oh, man, it just made me more jovial. It definitely made me more observational. Being in prison, you have to keep your head on the swivel. You always have to see what's going on. And that's what, my stand-up is, basically just a walk through life, how I got to this point and all the things that I encountered. So. Yeah.
Part three of the Domino Effect is out now. It's already racked up like 500,000 views in 24 hours. I mean, so congratulations.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Congratulations on that.
Make it move.
I know, like in your last special, you know, you talked about being duct taped and thrown into the trunk of a car. Hilarious. Where do you get your material from for this part three?
This is the third part is in succession. Like I started at 10. So that's the first Domino Effect. I was from 10 to like 16. Then I went from 16 to 19. Now this is 19 to 21. And then Domino Effect 4 will be from 21 to 25. You know, so it's going in succession, just telling my story in chronological order. And, you know, this is definitely the funniest account of being in prison ever on Domino Effect. So definitely, you know, just going, you know, keeping track of the life. You know, documenting as it goes.
What's it like to get to do that? Like, I mean, even back to your childhood, going down memory lane like that.
I didn't even think it was going to happen like this. When I did the first Domino Effect, people asked me, well, what's the next part of the story? So then I did Domino Effect 2, which was Lost. And then so I did 3, which is the first day of school when we first getting incarcerated. And 4 is the sequel, Pins and Needles, the end of it. You know, it comes out Father's Day.
Yeah, tell us more about this one.
Oh, so... this is, I just get arrested, so now I'm walking through the process of getting put into the system.
Okay.
And this is, when you think that you're doing crime, this is when it actually happens. You've seen it in totality. Like, it's so many criminals, and you like, I don't think I'm a real criminal. I don't think that this is how it should go with me. And so now I'm in holding, and then I get from holding to going to court. And I'm trying to get out. And I'm going getting my lawyer, establishing my lawyer, and I still hadn't told my mom. And so this is the part of me telling my mom that I'm in court. I called her, like, yo, they say I was selling drugs. It's like, who is they? Like the feds who caught me.
Your mom didn't like that.
Just them, just the feds.
Just the feds. And then getting time and getting sentenced and actually going to a prison. And now it's different because jail and prison are two different things.
Yeah.
You know, so this is
a big difference.
It's a big difference.
We have just under a minute here, but what is it you hope people take away from hearing your story?
That you actually not your mistakes, that you can spin out of your mistakes. And I think a lot of people get caught up in what they did versus what they can become from what they did. You know, so and how people see people that came out of prison. You know, trying to get that disparaging notion that we all are criminals and you're just gonna be a criminal for life. So with my story, you know, I'm not a criminal for life. I'm a comic for life.
There you go. We like Joe said, just have a little bit left, but what's the response been like? Like people learning more than they probably ever knew about what was going on in jail or prison via comedy?
Oh, it's been a great response. You know, the type of people that come up to me now is different. Even attorneys ask me, so how do I help my client, you know, see what they're going to face if they are incarcerated? A lot of politicians will start calling me, you know, because a lot of people going to jail. What you facing, you know? So, you know, I'm just trying to give a healthy account of how things may go. And once again, you're not your mistakes, and you can spin out of it.
Great lesson.
Yeah, it really is. Thank you for being here this morning. Congrats on the tour and this coming out again on Father's Day.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, definitely check out the website. Definitely.
Yeah, we love it. Thanks for coming in. We really appreciate it. Great to have you here. Well, she has not even played an official game yet, and she's already breaking records.
We've got a preview of Caitlin Clark's regular season debut that is becoming a must-see TV event. That's next. Back, actor George Clooney is going from Hollywood to Broadway for his big Broadway debut. But let's just say he's familiar with the material. Clooney will star in the stage adaptation of the 2005 Oscar-nominated drama Good Night and Good Luck, which Clooney co-wrote and acted in. Now, Clooney also co-wrote the play, but instead of playing CBS producer Fred W. Friendly like he did in the film, this time Clooney, well, he's being upgraded. He's been promoted. He's going to take the anchor chair for a spin and play the legendary anchor, Edward R. Murrow. That play set to premiere next year.
That is pretty cool. George Clooney on Broadway. That would make me
already
go.
Cool stuff coming that we're talking about for Broadway next year. There's 400 shows on stage now and more coming in the fall. So
you've seen them all.
Most, yes.
Thanks, Joe. All right, it's finally time for Caitlin Clark's WNBA debut. In just a few hours, the basketball star will suit up for her first regular season game with the Indiana Fever against the Connecticut Sun in front of a sold-out crowd. Here's NBC News national correspondent Stephanie Gosk with more from the arena where it's all going down.
Caitlin Clark is no stranger to setting records, and she's already broken another one before her WNBA career officially begins. The Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun are going to be playing in front of a sold-out crowd here in Connecticut tonight. It's the first time that the Sun have sold out their home opener in more than 2 decades. It's game time once again for Caitlin Clark, this time in the big league. Tonight, the 22-year-old basketball phenom will suit up for her first regular season WNBA game, playing for the Indiana Fever.
This is a dream. This is something I wrote down on a piece of paper when I was in like 2nd grade, get a basketball scholarship, play in the WNBA.
The weight of the moment not lost on Clark.
This is what you kind of worked for and dreamed of, and now you get to put your jersey on for the first real time.
While she'll be sporting a new uniform, her number will stay the same.
It looks pretty awesome. I love it.
Her new jersey already one of the top selling for a draft pick in any sport. The excitement from her record-shattering run in the NCAA tournament has only gained momentum.
The Indiana Fever select Caitlin Clark, University of Iowa.
Clark and the Fever now enjoying one of the high-profile new changes at the WNBA, private flights for teams. With sold-out games and record merch sales, the Caitlin Clark effect shows no signs of letting up.
WNBA preseason games, right, guys?
Yeah, right.
Have we ever seen national television talk about this?
And her popularity has been translating to dollars. According to StubHub, Indiana Fever ticket sales are up 13 times from last season. As for her own earnings, Clark will take home a base salary of just over $76,000 this year. But a deal with Nike will reportedly pay her $28 million over 8 years. This weekend, the Fever celebrating Clark after she missed her graduation from Iowa due to her new gig. Clark's impact now reaching new heights she says she's ready for.
I think it'll definitely be a good challenge for me, and I think that's one of the reasons I decided to leave college is just, something new.
Some news out of Clark's alma mater, Iowa. Her 63-year-old coach, Lisa Bluter, who's coached for 24 years, is retiring. She's retiring as the winningest coach in Big Ten history. Back to you.
Good for her. Stephanie Goss, thank you so much. I cannot wait to see this.
Love that graduation ceremony there,
Yeah.
Caitlin. All right, that's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Don't go anywhere, though. The news continues right now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.